Yeah! Starcraft Amateur Hour!
Ooh, Starcraft 2.
I think I hit this thing.
No, it's okay. Don't
Morocco.
worry. It's not broken. Anyways, hi. Welcome to Amateur Hour. I'm Guns Akimbo. This is your
Negative
host,
Sons?
Negative Sons.
And this is.
Yeah. A little visual flair. Really, we just wanted to show off a little chest hair. To show you that you might own us in game. Don't do that. But not in the hair department. So, what are we doing today? What's the goal? What are we focused on? Besides you getting dizzy and vomiting from too many glasses on your head.
Sorry, it seemed like such a good idea.
Yeah, it's nice.
Well, I just wanted to have a Morocco dick.
We're watching Zerg. We're watching and focusing on Zerg play, and specifically, we're going to be talking about the Zerg economic build, where they go pool to fast expand, and they just protect themselves, and they just keep macroing up, building just enough army to keep you at bay and keep you out, and then just steamroll you late game. And that happens so many times; it's becoming standard Zerg play. And let's talk about your goals.
It really plays to the efficiency of what Zerg is good at, which is getting those fast expansions up and
growth,
just growing.
Growing.
And as we're talking about this, I think we're going to try to have a focus on really explaining what you can do, the various different things you can do to stop a Zerg that's trying to take his third base and mass up units against you. And in general, I think we want to try to focus a little bit more in Amateur Hour on you guys taking something away from the show that can help you kind of improve at StarCraft and sort of getting a little bit more educational, because we're ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we want to be ridiculous and educational.
Fungicational,
much like Sesame Street.
Exactly.
StarCraft Sesame Street Hour.
So in this first game, we're mainly going to focus on the Zerg and what he's doing, so we understand the timings and what goes into it. It's very distracting. You're a son of a bitch.
I know, but I know that I promised that I would be nicer, but
Yeah.
This is so good.
So we're mainly going to focus on Zerg in this game, but then we're going to try to get to a second game to see the counters to it and talk about what each race can do to stop this train of Zerg growth. All right, so let's get to the game.
Look, it's a Mexican skeleton riding on a hydralisk like a horse.
Now we're going to play. All right, so we have Feint playing as the Zerg player, and Feint is a great player in general and incredible at pulling off this economic build. It is the build that he does.
He's really good at it. He has the timing down perfectly. And this is a very technical build, and I think that it's very important when you're doing a build like this, that you get those timings. A lot of types of builds, especially a lot of rushes or one-based play, the timings aren't so important. You just get 2 gateways and make zealots, as many zealots as you can. With a build like this, it's very important that you do things at the right time.
Exactly. So at 9 supply, he's making his Overlord.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment that the Overlord hatches, he'll have 100 minerals, make 2 more drones off the bat. It's very basic part of the build order, but it just, that kind of timing is the timing that's needed throughout the entire build.
And the thing is that sort of fine-tuning makes it so that your next building comes a couple seconds earlier, and then your next thing comes a couple seconds earlier. It's all about choreography. It's all about dancing. StarCraft is like dancing.
Yeah, with happy feet.
And if you want to get better at StarCraft, you totally should watch Dirty Dancing with whatever people were in that movie.
Yeah, I think Mel Gibson and Fiona Apple.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So usually this build at this point, I guess we're going to see... Yep. At 14 supply, goes directly for his spawning pool.
Yeah.
Right away.
And, there's 2 versions of this fast expand build. One is where you get that really fast spawning pool and then hatch. But the even more aggressive one, economically, but more risky, is to get hatchery first. And it's like a 13 hatchery, 15 spawning pool or something like that. But this is just reverse. This is like going to be a 14 spawning pool and then 15, 16 hatchery.
Which I think is a better play. It's a safer play, and you're not losing too much. And now on the 16th, actually this is the 15th drone for Feint, he goes for his expansion. And now these timings, it's unique to each people. Some people like it on 15. Some people like it
and
on
it's also
16.
dependent on map. Obviously, if you have a map where you have a really close natural, you can get your spawning pool supply earlier. If you have a much farther natural, you might have to get a supply later. So, whatevs.
Yeah.
As long as you hit the right timing window, which is the fact that you want to get your hatchery up and have that creep come out of it, and then be able to plant your spine crawlers before your opponent is able to push.
Exactly.
Early.
And so this is what he's doing right now. As soon as the spawning pool finished, he used his first 150 minerals to build his queen. And then for every 100 minerals that he built up after that, exactly, he put down 1, then 2 spine crawlers.
And I like how he is aware of spreading his creep with his queen. It's important to spread it now, and he does it in a way that has a very utility of motion, which is what I like to say to mean that his queen was on its way to the expansion anyway when it dropped the creep tumor.
Exactly. And as it's on its way to its expansion, a second queen is forming here. But on the production overlay, to follow the game a little bit, we do see a Reaper coming out, or has it come out?
Yeah, and the only reason
it's
why...
units on the unit overlay. So, we already have the Reaper in here.
The only reason why you build a Reaper is this early is for, and in general, I think, because they kind of suck as regular units, is for this purpose, to kill drones, and he already has gotten one of them. But that looks like all he's going to get.
Yeah, and it seemed like Feint wasn't too worried. He had 1 drone kill, but that queen was on its way, and the queen will just keep that Reaper at bay. There's nothing...
Queens are really good at defending your mineral line from Reapers. You really would need
from anything, really, from early Banshees or Reapers.
I mean, Zealots cut through them pretty well, but against Terran, against anything from Terran, your queens are pretty good. Hellions can kill the queens pretty quick too, but whatever. We're talking about this game, not a hypothetical game that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
So against that one Reaper harass, the queen is going to be pretty effective. But an interesting thing, an awesome play by Feint, is that when you see that Reaper come in, you might have the tendency to get some Zerglings. He doesn't. He just says, you know what, I'm safe with my queens. And he's spending all of his larvae to make drones.
Exactly. He's not panicking.
Very important right now. Actually, he's not spending any larvae to make drones right now because I guess he doesn't have any.
But still, he hasn't not a single unit on this map. One small side note is that Overlord placement is great. Just it gave the queen vision up here to spot to get that little jumper.
Yeah, I like players who are aware of stuff like that because it's very similar to, putting your pylon at the edge of your base where you might have a Reaper come up as Protoss. It's just stuff that what could happen. Yeah. And you're putting stuff... You're not spending a lot of money to prevent it. You're not building cannons, but you're taking small measures against stuff that could happen.
And the hardest part about StarCraft, I feel like, is remembering each of those little things. There's so many little things that can happen, and there's so many little things that won't set you back at all that you can do to prevent that.
And that's really, honestly, that's really the art of the build order, and that's why so many people are fascinated with it. It's this concept of coming up with this build that keeps you safe against everything, against all of the things that could happen, and still puts you in a position where you're in a strong lead. And it's just a constant pursuit because of the rock, paper, scissors nature of anything like that.
And now, Feint still with no units out as a Terran force comes up, and has 2 queens out for this.
But he actually is now making. He sees the force because it's on creep, and he's now making a bunch of Hydralisks, about 7 Hydralisks, and with the queens there to block, he's safe in his main. And with those Hydralisks coming, he's going to be able to push this army back.
Exactly. And this is part of that build, is he built the second queen so he can have direct access to block this ramp, because there's a vulnerability right now in this build before those Hydras pop that Hellions can run right up the ramp and get into the unprotected main.